Number 1. One of the poorest countries in the world. Timor-Leste is still considered one of the poorest countries in the world today. In the ranking of nearly 200 countries, this nation is only in 157th place. The average annual income per person here is about $1,500, while in the United States, this number reaches $82,000. That means the average American earns 56 times more than a person in Timor-Leste. What is remarkable is that this small nation actually owns a considerable oil and gas reserve, about 700 million barrels of oil equivalent. If that resource were divided equally among the more than 1.3 million people, then on paper, each person would have the same value as a citizen of an upper middle income country. In other words, from a resource perspective, they are not poor. The main reasons are corruption, weak governance, and overdependence on oil, which have prevented the economy of this country from developing sustainably. Nearly half of the population still lives below the poverty line. In rural areas, electricity is often available only a few hours a day or is frequently interrupted. In some fishing villages, people have diesel generators, but the costs are so high that they only turn them on for special occasions, such as festivals or important football matches. Television has become a luxury item, and many people have to gather in one electrified house to watch football. Some families even charge $0.06 per viewing to cover the electricity cost. Poverty brings many shortages, but there is one thing the people of Timor-Leste never lack, and that is food. The sea around Timor-Leste is extremely rich. Just going a few dozen meters offshore is enough to cast a net and catch fish. Some people do not even need a boat. They only wait for low tide to collect sea urchins, shellfish, clams, or sea cucumbers right on the beach. Another paradox is that although the country is poor, the government appears to be quite generous with its citizens. Public education is completely free. From primary school to university, basic healthcare services also come at no cost. People over 60 years old receive a subsidy of about $90 per month, while the unemployed also get support ranging from $30 to $50. In fact, these policies are even more generous than those of many more economically developed countries in the region, such as Indonesia, the Philippines, or Thailand. And if you think that in a poor country everything must be cheap, you are mistaken. In reality, the cost of living in Timor-Leste is much higher than in many other places. A simple meal at a small local restaurant costs between $8 and $10. A small bottle of water can reach $2, and a standard hotel room is about $40 to $50 per night. Even cheap and common transportation like motorbikes in Timor-Leste costs nearly double compared to Indonesia. The reason is that most goods, from food and household items to fuel, have to be imported. Weak infrastructure and high transportation costs push prices up even further. In the morning, you can go to the beach and pick up free seafood. But once you step into a restaurant, you have to pay a price many times higher. Do you think living like this is miserable, or is it a form of simple happiness? Leave your opinion below. Number 2. Crocodiles are considered ancestors. Chickens are the national sacrificial animal. Timor-Leste currently has about 95% of its population following Roman Catholicism. This makes the small country the nation with the highest proportion of Catholics in Southeast Asia, and even among the top in the world. However, before embracing Catholicism, the Timorese had built their own unique spiritual life, deeply connected with nature, with their ancestors, and especially with two animals, the crocodile and the chicken. The people here believe that it was a giant crocodile that turned into an island, creating the land of Timor. Therefore, the crocodile is regarded as the ancestor of the nation. The imprint of this animal is present everywhere. In the national emblem, in the decorative patterns at the ancestral house of worship called Lulik, and even in the way people refer to themselves as descendants of the crocodile. Because of this belief, killing a crocodile is considered a grave sin, equivalent to insulting the ancestors. If someone happens to harm one, they are required to perform a ritual to ask the spirits of the ancestors for forgiveness. On the other hand, when a crocodile attacks humans, many communities believe it is because the ancestors are angry. In such cases, the victim's family will organize a sacrificial ceremony to appease the spirit's wrath. Remarkably, Many fishermen, even knowing that crocodiles inhabit the waters, still go out to sea because they trust their ancestors will not harm those who are sincere. It is therefore not surprising that Timor-Leste has become one of the countries with the highest crocodile-related death rates in the world, with an average of about 13 cases per year, much higher than in Australia, where the crocodile population is larger but reports fewer than one fatal incident annually. And that is only the official data, as many cases in Timor-Leste go unreported. While crocodiles are regarded as forefathers, chickens are considered the national sacrificial animal. Chickens, especially roosters, appear in almost every ritual, from building a new house, weddings, and funerals, to healing ceremonies and harvest prayers. Chicken blood is seen as a message offered to deities and ancestors. While the chicken's body can be used for divination, people may observe the way the chicken struggles in death, the direction of blood flow, or dissect its organs to predict the future. In some regions, even the construction of a house cannot begin without a rooster sacrifice ritual to seek permission from the earth god. In marriage, chickens also serve as proof of the groom's family's sincerity. In many communities, the number and strength of the roosters brought by the groom's family are even used to value the bride. The healthier and louder the rooster crows, the more precious the bride is considered. Beyond that, chickens are also mediators in reconciliation rituals. When two sides are in conflict, they cut a chicken's blood, mix it together, and drop it onto the ground to symbolize the end of hostility. Number 3. Women having 6 to 10 children is normal. While many countries are worried about low birth rates, spending billions of dollars to encourage population rejuvenation, the story in Timor-Leste is the complete opposite. Here, each woman gives birth to an average of 4 or 5 children. In rural areas, the number usually ranges from 6 to 10, and there are even cases of up to 12 children. Thanks to this, Timor-Leste has become the country with the highest birth rate in Southeast Asia. For the people here, having many children is not only a joy but also a form of savings, providing more helping hands for labor and a source of support when parents grow old. However, these figures only count healthy and surviving children. In reality, Timor-Leste is still among the countries with high infant mortality rates. The main reason is that women here marry too early. Statistics show that nearly 20% of women under 19 are already married before turning 18. When the body is not yet fully developed, pregnancy can easily lead to complications, endangering both mother and child. Moreover, in many rural areas where infrastructure is underdeveloped, some mothers-to-be have to walk for hours to reach a health center, and along the way, there have even been cases of unintended childbirth right by the roadside. So why do women here marry so early? The reason, of course, is tradition. In many villages, marriage is not simply a matter of love between two people, but also a bond between two families, even two clans. Parents often make decisions on behalf of their children, and some couples are promised to each other from a young age. But the more important reason lies in economics. According to custom, when marrying a wife, the groom's family must provide a bride price. This can be livestock, money, or valuable hand-woven ties cloth. For poor families, marrying off their daughter early means receiving property, reducing the burden of raising her, and gaining additional resources. Fortunately, although women do not have full autonomy in choosing marriage, their status in the family after marriage is quite significant. They manage the finances, decide on land transactions, and play a central role in raising children. No matter how far men travel for work or how much they earn, they ultimately have to bring the money home and hand it to their wives. In many households, the wife's voice is so important that she is likened to the treasurer and chief financial officer of the family, while the husband is merely the main laborer. Number 4. The youngest country on the planet. Timor-Leste is considered one of the youngest countries in the world. This nation officially declared independence in 2002, which means it is just over 20 years old today. If compared to a person, Timor-Leste is only as old as a fresh graduate starting their first career. But to appear on the world map as it does today, Timor-Leste went through a long journey filled with hardship and much suffering. The story begins in the 16th century, when the Portuguese arrived after discovering that this land had sandalwood. This was a precious wood with a unique fragrance that was highly sought after by European nobility. From then on, Timor became a Portuguese colony for more than 400 years. The influence of over 400 years of Portuguese colonization is still clearly visible in the country today. If you visit Timor-Leste, you will easily come across old European-style churches. Hear people speaking Portuguese, see the majority of the population practicing Catholicism, and even notice Portuguese surnames or European features in many faces. In 1974, in Portugal itself, the Carnation Revolution broke out, overthrowing the Estado Novo dictatorship. The new government decided to abandon the entire colonial system, including Timor-Leste. Immediately afterward, Timor-Leste declared independence. However, the joy lasted only 9 days. Indonesia quickly sent troops to invade and turn Timor into its 27th province. The following 20-plus years were the darkest period in Timor-Leste's history. The people lived under occupation, constant conflict, food shortages, and lack of medicine. International organizations estimated that between 100,000 and 200,000 people died. This casualty rate was horrific, as the population of Timor at that time was only about 700,000. That means nearly 1/3 of the population was lost due to war and its consequences. At last, thanks to the resilience of the people and relentless pressure from the international community, Indonesia was finally forced to withdraw. And in 2002, the Democratic Republic of Timor-Leste was officially born, becoming one of the youngest countries in the world. An interesting detail is that the official name of the country is Timor-Leste. However, many people still call it East Timor. This originated during the period of Indonesian occupation, when the region was named Timor-Timor, meaning East Timor in Indonesian. International media at that time translated it as East Timor and used it for decades. When the country officially gained independence, the name Timor-Leste did not receive much attention, so many people continued to use the old name. Even today, many maps, travel documents, and foreign reports still use both names interchangeably, which often confuses tourists. So, have you ever heard of the name Timor-Leste? Or are you still more familiar with East Timor? Share your thoughts below. Number 5. Culture shocks when visiting Timor-Leste. If you ask a local for directions in Timor-Leste, you might be surprised to receive a kiss. While this may easily be misunderstood by outsiders, in fact, it is their traditional way of pointing the way. Instead of using hands or fingers, locals purse their lips, jerk their chin toward the direction, and give a slight nod. For them, this is a completely natural reflex. But for first-time visitors, the moment can be confusing. Did I just get directions? Or did I accidentally receive a love signal in the middle of a busy street? Just like that fascinating way of giving directions, in daily life, the Timorese have many strict rules of conduct that outsiders would not expect. One of them is that you must never step over someone's legs. What may seem harmless is considered offensive in their culture, as if you are placing yourself above the other person. So if someone is blocking the path, you must not simply step over them but walk around. When night falls, there is yet another taboo. Locals believe that whistling at night can attract evil spirits. During the day, whistling is harmless, even cheerful, but after dark, it is seen as a sign that invites misfortune. So if you feel like humming a tune while walking in the evening, it is better to sing softly instead. In food culture, rules about order are also very important. In Timor-Leste, younger people or guests must always invite elders to eat first. Typically, they turn to grandparents, parents, or the most senior person at the table and say briefly, "Please enjoy the meal," or "Please have some rice." Only after the elder picks up their chopsticks does everyone else begin eating. If someone impatiently starts eating before that, it is seen as disrespectful. In some traditional families, young people must even wait until elders give them a signal before touching their food, showing absolute respect for seniors. This will certainly surprise many visitors, since in other countries, people usually just say, "Enjoy your meal," and start eating together right away without considering it impolite. Number 6. No martial arts allowed. Football always ends in defeat. In Timor-Leste, martial arts were once banned. Disciplines such as karate, silat, or taekwondo were considered threats in the country. The reason traces back to after 2002, when the nation gained independence. At that time, martial arts clubs mushroomed, but instead of practicing just for health, many groups turned into underground gangs. They split into factions, caused conflicts, staged large-scale brawls, destroyed property, and even led to deaths. The government constantly faced riots, and almost every investigation pointed to martial arts groups being involved. So in 2013, the authorities took drastic action, issuing a nationwide ban on martial arts. The law stated clearly that anyone caught training in groups could face heavy fines or several years in prison. At one point, even wearing martial arts uniforms or displaying a club logo at home could be deemed a violation. In recent years, the law has been loosened. Authorities have allowed martial arts to reappear within official sports frameworks, but still under strict supervision. As a result, martial arts tournaments in Timor-Leste are now rare, mostly performances or state-organized events. In contrast to martial arts being restricted, football is the most beloved sport in the country. In towns and villages, it is common to see children playing barefoot or adults gathering to cheer. That passion is so strong that football has become a spiritual symbol of Timor-Leste. However, despite their love for the game, the achievements of the national team remain extremely modest. They joined FIFA in 2005, started regional competitions at the 2004 AFF Cup, but most of their results have been at the bottom of the table. In some tournaments, Timor-Leste suffered heavy defeats against Thailand or Indonesia. From 2004 to 2024, the Timor-Leste national team played more than 80 official matches but won fewer than 10, mostly against similarly ranked opponents like Brunei or Laos. In some competitions, they even lost by wide margins such as 0-7, 0-8, and at one point, Vietnam's U-23 team defeated Timor-Leste 11-0. In truth, it is hard to blame the team. This is a young nation with very limited sports infrastructure. Many players have to train on dirt fields. The domestic league has yet to develop, so their level is difficult to improve quickly. What is admirable is that despite many defeats, in every match, the players still give their all. For them, playing means fighting with spirit, and the results come afterward. Have you ever watched a match of the Timor-Leste national team? If yes, comment with the number 2. If not, leave the number 0. Number 7. The most diverse and unique transportation in Asia. Timor-Leste is sometimes jokingly called a paradise of old cars, but it should be emphasized that old cars here are not the fancy, polished classics people often see in Cuba. Old cars in Timor-Leste are so worn out that you might be surprised they can still run at all. Due to economic limitations, about 80% of vehicles here are second-hand, mostly imported from Japan and some neighboring countries. Locals often choose models known for their durability, ease of repair, and available spare parts, such as older Toyotas, Nissans, or Mitsubishis. On the outside, many of these cars look pretty run down, torn seats, scratched windows, peeling paint, and some are covered with rust spots. Yet, somehow, they still operate. Some cars are over 20 years old and should have long been scrapped, but in Timor-Leste, they still run well on the road. However, these vehicles are only suitable for urban areas, especially in the capital, Dili, where roads are decently paved. In rural areas, it is a completely different story. In many villages, roads are still rough dirt paths. During the rainy season, just a few hours of heavy rain can turn them into streams, with tiny bridges or makeshift wooden and bamboo crossings that feel as shaky as an adventure ride. Some villages are completely cut off, and people can only travel by trekking through forests or waiting for the water to recede. In such conditions, motorbikes have become the national vehicle. And in Timor-Leste, motorbikes are truly multi-purpose. You will often see entire families of 4-5 people on one bike, or motorbikes loaded with chickens, pigs, rice, and sometimes even refrigerators or wooden beds precariously tied to the back. The rider drives calmly, as if it were the most normal thing in the world. Besides old cars and motorbikes, the most distinctive means of transport in Timor-Leste is the microlet. These are brightly colored minibuses that run throughout the streets of Dili. Each route has its own paint scheme, so just a quick glance tells you where it's heading. The atmosphere inside is always lively. Some play loud music, plaster stickers everywhere, and even hang flashing lights like a mobile party. Interestingly, microlets have no fixed stops. You just wave your hand and the driver will pull over, and to get off, you simply tap a coin on the metal bar inside. The fare is surprisingly cheap, and if you happen to be the last passenger, the microlet practically turns into a private taxi. With a bit of bargaining, the driver will gladly take you anywhere in the city. Number 8. Nightlife unlike anywhere else. In Southeast Asia, nightlife is often associated with vibrant streets, pounding music, and crowds partying until dawn. But in Dili, the capital of Timor-Leste, the concept of nightlife takes on a completely different character. Dili is considered the quietest capital at night in the region. Here, there are no clubs open until morning, no luxury rooftop bars, and certainly no midnight traffic jams. The city enters the evening in its own way, peaceful, slow-paced, and truly meant for rest. Around 9 p.m., many shops, eateries, and convenience stores begin to close. The streets grow silent, while locals end the day with family dinners or intimate conversations. Even the downtown area, usually bustling during the day, quickly sinks into tranquility at night. But quiet nights do not mean a lack of entertainment. Instead of upscale clubs and bars, locals in the expatriate community often head to small seaside bars. There, a glass of bintang or tiger beer with some grilled seafood, accompanied by the sound of crashing waves, is enough to create the signature relaxed atmosphere of Dili nights. Many bars also host live music, but don't expect booming EDM. The music here is usually acoustic, reggae, or soft pop, perfect for chatting and watching the sunset rather than dancing. Some places even let guests bring guitars, turning the whole bar into a cozy sing-along. Another distinctive feature of nightlife here is its international flavor. Dili is home to many NGO staff and foreign experts. So in one bar you might hear all sorts of languages, from Tetum and Portuguese to English and Indonesian. This makes every evening in Dili feel like a small cultural exchange. For a more local experience, the night market is a must-visit. It offers a wide variety of food, from fresh seafood and grilled skewers to banana leaf-wrapped rice. Locals gather to eat and chat lively, creating a friendly and relaxed atmosphere. Unlike the crowded night markets of Bangkok or Kuala Lumpur, the night market in Dili retains its simplicity and ease, where you can leisurely pick your meal without pushing through a throng of people. And finally, safety, an important factor that shapes nightlife here. After a period of instability, the Timor-Leste government placed special emphasis on maintaining order. Thanks to that, Dili has become one of the safest capitals at night. Visitors can comfortably stroll along the seafront or sit at a small bar without worrying much about crime. Number 9. Dili, a small capital full of surprises. Dili is the capital of Timor-Leste and is among the smallest capitals in Southeast Asia. The city covers just over 370 square kilometers, with a population of about 200,000 people. Despite its modest size, Dili is the nation's most important political, economic, and cultural center. One special feature that makes Dili different from many other capitals is its location right by the sea. Stretching along the northern coast, facing the Banda Sea, Dili is not only scenic, but also famous among travelers for its diving spots. Just a short distance offshore, visitors can find pristine coral reefs, countless tropical fish, and even sea turtles. Few capitals in the world offer the chance to leave downtown and, within minutes, dive into the ocean to explore such a rich ecosystem. The city also bears a diverse cultural imprint. More than 400 years of Portuguese rule left behind many European-style structures, such as old churches and the Palácio do Governo with its striking red-tiled roof. Later, decades under Indonesian control brought Southeast Asian influences. The result is a Dili that blends European classical charm with the pulse of modern Asia. A famous symbol of Dili is the giant statue of Jesus Christ, standing 27 meters tall. It is one of the largest Christ statues in the world. Perched on a hill facing the sea, this monument is not only a religious site, but also Timor-Leste's most recognizable landmark and a perfect spot to take in panoramic views of the city. Additionally, if you want to explore Timorese cultural identity, the Ties Market is a must-visit. Here, you can find hand-woven ties cloths, one of the country's most important traditional crafts. Each piece is made entirely by hand, featuring red, orange, indigo, or yellow tones combined with geometric patterns, stylized suns, or ancestral symbols. What makes them unique is that no two are alike, as every piece tells its own cultural story. Ties cloths are not only worn but also used in weddings, sacrifices, and as part of bride price exchanges, making them an indispensable part of the nation's spiritual life. In 2021, Ties weaving was recognized by UNESCO as an intangible cultural heritage of humanity, becoming Timor-Leste's first international heritage and a great source of national pride. Number 10. Unique festivals in Timor-Leste. The capital Dili becomes most vibrant around February or March each year, when the Carnival de Timor takes place. This is considered one of the country's largest cultural festivals, inspired by the carnivals of Brazil and Portugal, but adapted to fit local traditions. From early morning, colorful parades march through many main streets. Participants wear elaborate costumes, many blending traditional Timorese elements with modern styles. Temporary stages play music non-stop, from traditional drum beats to electronic music, creating a festive atmosphere that lasts all day and night. Alongside costume contests and street performances, the carnival also features handicraft fairs, street food stalls, and various activities for children. Another event rich in traditional identity is the Timorese festival, usually held at the end of the dry season, around October or November. Timorese means art of living, and it is also the name of a well-known community art center in Dili. This festival is more than just a cultural event. It is a platform for young people to unleash their creativity. During the celebration, artists, musicians, dancers, and painters from across the country gather to showcase contemporary artworks infused with traditional elements. From murals and recycled sculptures to folk dances, everything comes together to create a lively artistic atmosphere. What makes it special is that through art, the people of Timor-Leste tell their own history, from years of war to today's peace. Another festival that is both unique and spiritual is Festa de São João, or the Feast of St. John, held every June. This tradition dates back to the Portuguese colonial era and is still maintained in many coastal regions. During this festival, locals organize processions, folk music performances, and, most notably, the ritual of jumping over fire. Young people believe that leaping over the flames on São João night will bring good luck and ward off misfortune for the year. Alongside the ritual are community feasts, where people share traditional dishes, palm wine, and folk dances that last until late at night. This is one of Timor-Leste's most distinctive festivals, blending spirituality with traces of its colonial past. Number 11. A culinary culture blended from many places. Even though Timor-Leste has no cultural connection with India, its people still have the habit of eating with their hands. In traditional meals, they usually use only the right hand, since the left hand is considered unclean according to long-standing belief. Food and rice are often rolled into small balls, mixed with spices right on the fingertips before being brought to the mouth. This habit has existed for a very long time and is still maintained in many rural areas, despite the Portuguese having introduced knives and forks during more than 400 years of colonization. In larger cities, cutlery is more common, but in the countryside, eating with hands remains the norm, especially when eating rice balls, dried fish, or boiled vegetables. As for cuisine, Timorese food is a blend of local ingredients and Portuguese culinary influences. A signature dish is sabuco sea fish grilled after being marinated with lemongrass, chili, and lime. This dish appears in most family meals and is a staple during festivals, reflecting the people's deep connection with the sea. Another popular dish is batar dan, a type of soup made from corn, pumpkin, and red beans. This dish is seen as a combination of European flavors and local ingredients readily available in Timor's highlands. It is a simple yet nutritious meal, commonly eaten in daily life. Timorese cuisine also includes some unusual dishes, such as buffalo skin salad. As the name suggests, this dish is made from carefully processed buffalo skin, thinly sliced and mixed with herbs, lime, chili, and local spices. It provides a chewy, slightly spicy taste and is well suited for gatherings or traditional ceremonies. If you visit cafes in the capital Dili, you will almost certainly come across pastel de nata, the famous Portuguese custard tart. Though an imported dish, pastel de nata has become an essential part of local coffee shops, often enjoyed with Timorese coffee, creating an interesting blend of East and West. And of course, it would be incomplete to talk about Timor-Leste without mentioning coffee. Timorese coffee is grown mainly in the highlands, where the climate is cool and the soil fertile. Cultivation here is entirely organic, with no pesticides or chemical fertilizers. Major brands like Starbucks have included Timor coffee in their supply chains, making it one of the country's most valuable export products. Number 12. Mysterious sites that remain unsolved. In the limestone mountains near the town of Los Palos lies a cluster of caves called Kere. This place is famous for hundreds of rock paintings, estimated to be more than 10,000 years old. These drawings have puzzled many researchers, as they not only depict hunting scenes, fish, turtles, and birds, but also feature recurring symbols that strongly resemble a writing system. The difficult part is that, to this day, no known script in Southeast Asia matches these symbols. Some scholars suggest they might represent an agricultural calendar, reflecting seasonal cycles. Others believe they are ritual symbols used to convey spiritual meanings. Particularly intriguing are certain drawings that portray figures with strange shapes, round heads, large eyes, and long limbs. These details have led to speculation about ancient inhabitants possibly encountering extraterrestrials, though no scientific evidence supports this theory. For the local people, Ili Keri Keri is considered sacred land. They only visit during ancestral ceremonies, and this cautious attitude has limited archaeological exploration. Several international teams have conducted excavations, but due to the lack of accompanying artifacts and sediment data, the mysterious drawings remain unexplained. Not far from Ili Keri Keri, in the Tuchuala area, lies the Lenehera Cave, another archaeological site full of debate. Situated by the sea with a tall, wide entrance and a dry interior, it was an ideal shelter. Since the 1960s, research teams have discovered human remains and stone tools here, showing early human presence. Some bone fragments date back as far as 35,000 years, while shells and traces of hearths found in the same sediment layers are only a few thousand years old. This discrepancy has divided scholars into two camps. One argues the cave was continuously inhabited, but its stratigraphy was disturbed over time. The other insists the cave was abandoned for a long period before being reused. Moreover, inside the cave are rough carvings and patches of red pigment, but no one has yet proven whether they were created by humans or are merely natural mineral stains. For decades, archaeological teams from Australia, Portugal, and Japan have studied Lenehara. Yet evidence about its chronology and human activity remains contradictory. As a result, Lenehara is regarded both as a key site in the study of human history and as a mystery that has yet to be fully explained. Number 13. Famous places in Timor-Leste. About 25 kilometers offshore from the capital Dili lies Atoro Island, considered a natural treasure of Timor-Leste. The waters around the island are recorded as having the highest density of reef fish species in the world. Because of this, Ataro is an ideal destination for diving and snorkeling. Just a few meters from the shore, visitors can admire colorful coral reefs and schools of tropical fish. Boat trips around the island also offer the chance to encounter dolphins and even whales during migration season. On the island itself, small villages still exist where locals live by fishing and crafting. Another famous site is Mount Ramalau, also known as Tatamailau. At 2,963 meters, it is the highest mountain in Timor-Leste. It is also an important pilgrimage site for the Catholic community. At the summit stands a large statue of the Virgin Mary, regarded as extremely sacred. During religious festivals, thousands of devotees hike up the mountain to join prayer ceremonies. For travelers, the journey usually begins at villages at the mountain's base at dawn to catch the sunrise. From the summit, a panorama of cloud seas and overlapping mountain ranges unfolds. Considered one of the country's most stunning natural experiences. Right in the center of Dili, the Palácio do Governo is a landmark tied to history. This large administrative building, built during Portuguese colonial rule, stands out with its classic Iberian architecture. White walls, red-tiled roof, and long arched corridors. Today, the Palacio still serves as a government office as well as a tourist attraction. The square in front of the building is often used for events and national celebrations. Not far away is the Santa Cruz Cemetery, the site of one of Timor-Leste's most tragic modern events. This was where the 1991 massacre took place, when hundreds of peaceful demonstrators were killed. Images of the event shocked the world and brought Timor-Leste's plight to international attention. Today, the cemetery serves as a memorial, with hundreds of neatly aligned white tombstones, offering a solemn space for citizens and visitors to pay their respects. Lastly, the Nino Conas Santana National Park in the eastern part of the country is Timor-Leste's largest protected area. It encompasses rainforests, limestone mountains, and even marine ecosystems. It is home to many rare bird species and includes Jocko Island, one of the most pristine and beautiful beaches. Visitors can trek through the forest, observe wildlife, or go diving to explore its rich ecosystem. Number 14. Travel tips for visitors to Timor-Leste. One thing that surprises many tourists when visiting Timor-Leste is the entry procedure. The country does not offer visa exemptions to most nations, including visitors from Europe or Asia. Visas can be obtained on arrival at Dili airport for a fee of $30, valid for 30 days. However, you need to prepare cash, as customs does not accept cards. There have even been cases where travelers had to wait for hours just to exchange money before being allowed entry. Once inside the country, the next issue to keep in mind is the internet. In Dili, some places offer Wi-Fi, but it is usually weak and unstable. In rural areas, connectivity is nearly non-existent. The best option is to buy a local 3G SIM card, though the speed is only basic. Because of this, many international visitors describe Timor-Leste as an internet detox destination, since even if you want to, you cannot be online frequently. Healthcare is another factor to consider. In the capital, there is a national hospital and a few international clinics, but outside the city, medical facilities are very limited. Even common medicines, including basic antibiotics, are not easy to find. For this reason, embassies often advise tourists to bring personal medication, and in emergencies, most serious patients are transferred to Singapore or Darwin, Australia for treatment. Another surprising factor is the frequent power cuts and water shortages. Even in Dili, electricity may go out several times a week, especially in budget hotels. Tap water is also unsafe to drink directly, so international travelers usually rely on bottled water. This is why upscale hotels often highlight having their own generators as a major advantage. Financial services are also limited. There are a few ATMs in Dili, but they often run out of cash. In more remote areas, ATMs are virtually non-existent. Most transactions are carried out in cash, and the main currency used is the USD. Therefore, tourists should bring enough cash for their trip, especially if planning to explore remote destinations such as Ataro Island or the Nino Koni Santana National Park. Lastly, when taking part in marine activities, pay attention to safety. Many beaches in Timor-Leste are stunning and pristine, but they lack lifeguard services or warning signs. Some areas also have strong undercurrents, known only to locals. Before swimming or diving, it is best to consult fishermen or guides to avoid risks. Number 15. Travel costs in Timor-Leste. As mentioned earlier, prices in Timor-Leste are much higher than the regional average, and this makes traveling in the small country significantly more expensive. For accommodation, in the capital Dili, budget hotel rooms usually range from $35 to $50 per night. Mid-range or higher-end hotels cost between $70 and $150. Outside the city, options are much more limited, mostly small guest houses with basic facilities, priced around $20 to $30 per night. Food is also far from cheap. A meal at a local eatery costs between $5 and $8, while eating at a mid-range restaurant falls around $10 to $15 per dish. If you choose to dine at hotels or restaurants serving international guests, the cost can double, sometimes matching European prices. Imported goods like cheese, wine, or canned food are often 2 to 3 times more expensive than in Thailand or Indonesia. Transportation is another major expense. Because the public transport system is limited, many travelers opt to rent a car with a driver, commonly priced from $80 to $100 per day. In Dili, taxis are available, but they do not use meters, so fares must be negotiated beforehand. Recreation costs, especially diving, are also quite high. A diving trip with full equipment and a guide at Ataro Island typically costs between $90 and $120. Entrance fees for most attractions are inexpensive, but transportation to remote areas is what consumes the bulk of the budget. Taking into account the basics, an international tourist will spend on average $70 to $100 per day on accommodation, food, and transportation. Therefore, for a one-week trip, total expenses may range from $500 to $700, excluding special activities such as diving tours or exploring remote regions. So we've just explored 15 fascinating facts about Timor-Leste. Hopefully, this information has given you a new perspective on this small yet surprising country. If you found the video helpful, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell to join us on our next journeys. Out of these 15 facts, which one impressed you the most? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. The information is for reference only, so please do your own research before making any decisions.